Well, the British Guiana is a storied, wonderful, storied stamp. It was issued in 1856 in British Guiana in a situation where the stamps that had been produced in Britain for British Guiana were delayed, and so the local post office had to produce their own stamps. The stamps they produced were so crude in the sense that the postmaster said the postal clerks really had to sign each stamp, initial it, before delivering it in order to ensure its genuineness. But the famous 1 cent, well, it's unique. Only a small number were produced of 1 cent. It's unknown how many there were needed at that point. It was used on newspapers. People saved their letters inside envelopes, so you had stamps on envelopes, but the wrappers around a newspaper were not saved, and so there wasn't the same sort of opportunity. It really wasn't until 1873 when a 12-year-old boy named Vaughan found one of the 1 cent magentas. Now, he didn't realize that it was unique. He asked a local collector if he could sell the local collector some of his stamps. The local collector said sure, gave him a few shillings, and then he in turn sold his collection to a dealer in Scotland. And then he in turn sold it on to the world's greatest collector of stamps, Count Ferrari. At the beginning of the First World War, as an Austrian, he fled France as an enemy alien, went to Switzerland. The stamps stayed behind in Paris, and then he died in 1917. And in his will, he left his collection to the Berlin Postal Museum. Germans, of course, lost the war, and the French seized Ferrari's stamp collection as enemy property belonging to Germany and sold it in a celebrated series of sales. And in 1922, the British Guiana came up for sale and set a new world record for a stamp, which it consistently did every time it was sold at auction. At that sale, famously, King George V is supposed to have bid and not gotten the stamp, and it went to a man named Arthur Hind, who was an industrialist, and certainly owning the British Guiana made his collection famous. He realized that. He was very proud of that. He created his own little postcard of the stamp, in fact. And then when he died, there was a great court case because he was estranged from his widow, and she'd been left the contents of his house. And it turned out that the stamp actually was still in the house. I put it on the market and ultimately sold it to a man named Frederick Small, who made a lot of money in the rayon business. And in 1970, it was bought by a syndicate of buyers led by Erwin Weinberg, famously traveling around the world in a briefcase strapped to people's wrists by handcuffs. I mean, showmanship.